Hey everyone, it's Nathas, and today I'm going to be opening a Kickstarter exclusive edition SolForge Fusion starter kit. So I opened a few of these on my channel before, and I actually have a full case of starter kits. So there are 12 of them that I've had in a box sitting on my shelf for a while, and I've decided that I'm going to start opening them in a series of videos. So this is the first Kickstarter starter kit that I'm going to be opening. So just to kind of show you the outside of the box, it's fully sealed. It's got one deck from each faction in it, as well as a set of Kickstarter minions. So let's open it up, see if we get anything good inside. There's definitely been a lot of really cool decks being opened in the community lately. A lot of them have come out of Kickstarter. So I'm really hoping to see something really cool out of this kit, or at least out of the case that we've got. So to open the box, the first thing we have are two paper playmats, very similar to the premium playmats that they have made. Um, we've got one deck from each faction. And we've got a set of minions. Just to get this out of the way. Alright, so these are the 4 decks from the kit. I will open for this first video the set of minions and life trackers, just so everyone can see what they are, but I will keep these sealed on the other videos as well, moving forward for the other 11 kits. Alright, so in this pack, what you get is a set of minions. So you get some normal minions and some Kickstarter minions. And you also get some health trackers for your cards. So if you don't have dice, they made these little cards and tokens to be able to check your either buffs or decreases of health and power. So you kind of put it under a card. So like for example, let's say I've got a Krogius and I want to say it has -2 health. That would be a way for me to show that. So these little cards were made this way specifically in the Kickstarter edition. There's a new type of card that they made in the normal starters that came out in the alpha edition. They're smaller, they're a little bit more streamlined, but those also were released. So these were kind of, you only see them in this style specifically out of Kickstarter. In addition to that, what happens in this little minion kit, so you get 2 normal Gizmo minions, and then you get 1 Kickstarter gizmo. So to show off the Kickstarter gizmo, it's alternate art on the front, as well as alternate art on the back. So it's really cool that they made these alternate arts in Kickstarter. You will see them every once in a while in Kickstarter booster packs, as well as you'll get 1 additional Kickstarter minion in one of the sets if you open a starter kit. So you get a total of 5. So we've got the gizmo here. We got our 2 zombies, and then our Kickstarter mindless zombie. So that's your mindless zombie side. And that is your zombie brute side. Again, a really cool alternate art. We got our normal spell sprites, and then our alternate art spell sprite. And on the back, you see a spell swarm. And then finally, we've got our wisps, and then our alternate art wisp. So you got the alternate art wisp on one side, and then the Oak Father on the other. So all 4 of these alternate art minions are really cool, and it's kind of a way to show that you've supported the Kickstarter. So it's a nice little inclusion, and you're guaranteed to get 1 of each when you open up a Kickstarter starter. And then in addition, if you look at the back of all these starter kits, you'll get 2 decks that have the forges in them. You'll get 1 deck that has your keyword card, and then one of the decks will have a random Kickstarter minion as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open these decks one at a time and kind of look at the contents. So let me get the decks out of the way. We'll do the Aloyan deck first. And one thing, again, I'll mention in this version of the video, but I won't mention the other 11 that I eventually film. So in Kickstarter, the color of the set rarity symbols are a little bit different than alpha. So your commons are going to be green and your rares are going to be purple. And the same thing happens with your modifier rings, as you see on the shield bearing Justicar. So that's a cool little thing in your Kickstarter stuff that will show it's a little bit different. And you know it is a Kickstarter product because it has the different color set symbol as you see there. All right, so now let's get into this deck. So Aloyan, we've got a shield bearing Justicar. an Aegis Wings, a Bright Steel Sentinel, a Combat Allomancer, a Heavy Artillery, a Lucid Echoes, a Palladium Pulse Mage, a Sonic Burst, a Spirit Forge Sentinel, Warmonger Mod, and then our Forgeborn here is an Ironbeard with Reinforce at level 2, Intimidate at level 3, and Shields Up at level 4. So this is an interesting deck. Nothing super crazy that makes me really want to play it, but there's a lot of really cool cards in it. Now we're going to go into the Tempest deck, and I'm going to kind of go through these a little bit quicker. I'm not going to go super in depth with the deck synergies just because I really want to be able to show off these decks in a nice, quick video format. So we've got an Arrogant Spell Knight, a Burnout, an Everflame Aura, an Everflame Phoenix, Hibernating Warstoker, Primordial Slam, Stampeding Mongosaur, Steadfast Rex, Stormcaller, and a Volcanic Lasher. And then if we look at our Forgeborn, we've got a Korok with Lightning Speed at level 2, Flame Strike at level 3, and Demolish at level 4. So once again, nothing super exciting out of that Tempest deck. Nothing that I'm going to play competitively, but that would be pretty fun for sealed. Volcanic Lasher, unfortunately, is one of those cards that just kind of anti-synergies because it does damage equal to its power when it deploys, and Volcanic tends to have a really, really low power when it enters before being able to play that spell. Alright, so for our Utera deck, we've got a Krogius, a Combat Wartusk, a Feral Instinct, a Leyline Vermin, Primal Surge, Shroudthorn Splicer, Stouthead Stegodon, Toxic Spores, Venerable Batterhide, Vine Lash, and our Forgeborn here is a Nova with Nova's Wrath at level 2, Nova's Might at level 3, and Nova's Touch at level 4. So this is definitely, I would say, the most competitive deck we've seen so far. It definitely has some ways to blank your opponent's creatures with the Leyline Vermin and the Batterhide, as well as the Krogius too, which is just kind of like a nice finisher. So it's kind of like you can hope to control the board until you get to the point where you win the game. Alright, and then finally we have our Necrom deck, starting with a Combat Drake, a Dr. Frankenbaum, a Dizzy Siphon, Infernal Ritual, Necrovive, Om Nom Nom, Portal Shade, Shardplate Delver, and it's a #1 Betrayer too, which that's pretty cool, a Spirit Reaver, and a Spite Hydra. And then if we're going into our Forgeborn, we've got Army Commander at level 2, Soul Siphon at level 3, and Life Drain at level 4. So one thing that's interesting here, so it's typically really hard to find dinosaurs outside of Utera or Tempest. We've got 2 dinosaurs here because of that Betrayer. So that's pretty cool if you're trying to pair this in some sort of dino deck. Just being able to have that second dinosaur in the deck is really cool. So yeah, that was a Kickstarter starter deck, or starter kit. So thank you for tuning into this. I will be posting a bunch of videos going through the other 11 from this kit, or from this case, and we'll see if we open anything cool. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.